Hi, I'm Casey Luaters, and this is Could Be Pretty Cool. Today's guest is someone whose career is basically a masterclass in what happens when you refuse to have a plan B. Ralph Rolle is a professional drummer who's currently touring with Nile Rodgers, but calling him just a musician misses most of the picture. He's the founder of Soul Snacks Cookie Company. He's built digital platforms like Dear Family Stories and Fun with Music, and he teaches master classes all over the world. He's the kind of serial entrepreneur who genuinely seems like he doesn't sleep. We get into how a shy kid who couldn't talk to girls turned baking into a business that's now 30 years strong, why he thinks generational wealth is about more than money, and how the tools available today mean anyone with an idea can start building right now. Today's episode is very fascinating to me as someone who was a music major, started off thinking that I wanted to go into the music industry, quickly learning that I was probably not talented enough to do so, but having to pivot in so many different ways to eventually find the path that I am currently on. And so getting to chop it up with other folks who have similar stories is always a joy. So, Ralph, thank you so much for being on Could Be Pretty Cool today.
Thank you for having me.
So, I would love for the folks to get to know a little bit more about you. Could you tell us about your creator journey?
Casey, I started as a musician professionally at the age of 19. My mother wasn't very happy about that because I was all set to go to engineering school for mechanical engineering. My brother's a mechanical engineer and he's older than me, so I basically followed in his footsteps, everything he did. He was the first drummer in the house as well. And my mother being the strict disciplinarian that she was, the last thing I wanted to do was make her angry. But I realized at a young age I had to follow my own road. So after 4 years of taking mechanical engineering and preparing my application to get into Pratt Institute, I came home after class because I looked around the class and said, I can't do this the rest of my life. I just cannot. So I went home excited to tell my mother. And I said, Ma, I don't want to go to engineering school. I want to be a musician. And she said, boy, you just lost your mind. So I think you need to rethink that because that's not a job. That's just something you do for fun. You can't take care of yourself. And that was the main concern. It wasn't that she was frowning on what I was doing. She was just concerned about what I was doing. But she ended up supporting me being a musician. And from there, I started my first professional recording session was in 19. And my first professional tour was a group called Musique. They had a famous song called Push in the Bush. It was back in the disco era. But from there, you do local gigs, you pass your name around, you starve a little bit, you work harder, but you keep applying it to your forward motion. That's what being in the entertainment industry and anything in the arts is all about. Starving artists is a real thing. But once you get past that point, things could start doing well. People pass your name around, they know you're reliable, you could play. I just never had a plan B. I live by there's no plan B because in my mind, if you have a plan B, you're not going to focus 100% on your plan A. And to me, being a professional musician was either I'm going to ride it till the wheels come off and I'm going to die trying, or I don't know what else I'm going to do in life. So I personally felt like I had no choice but to succeed.
Can you talk to us about some of the important lessons? I'm sure you were touring in the studio, having to collaborate and interact with different people. What are some of the key lessons that even perhaps someone who's listening who isn't a musician but wants to go into some other form of creative practice or even just in any type of business? What are some of the things that were like, man, I carry these lessons with me with everything that I do in business?
I'm fortunate at this point over the last, over 10 years now, I teach master classes around the world. And I have this section I call the 5 Ps. And it's passion, power, placement, performance, and purity. And I learned to apply those words to my forward motion. But in short, you have to be confident that you could do the job. You got to be confident you could do the job. And you got to show up prepared. So I think I'm going to add prepared to my 5 P's and turn it into 6 P's, because if you're lacking confidence, people can sense it like a wolf. They can feel it. There's a difference between being nervous and lacking confidence. Nerves is like, okay, just let me settle down and I could do this. But lack of confidence shows up in your character, in your face, and people sense it. And they'll look at someone else and go, no, they look more confident. And they might go with the other person. So I know that being prepared and having your confidence is a very important thing.
Yes, the old adage, fake it till you make it. It appears in a lot of different points of a lot of people's journeys. You mentioned now that you teach master classes around the world. In addition to your creative practice in music, what are some of the other things that are sparking your interest right now? Either it could be professionally, as a hobby. What is keeping you engaged with your creative practice?
I am a bit of a serial entrepreneur. I like trying new things, starting new things, seeing the outcome, learning from my mistakes, applying it to my forward motion. So there's a couple of things that I started. One I started 30 years ago. Believe it or not, I was a shy kid, and all of my friends to me had swag and cool, and I didn't know how to talk to girls. They could just easily talk to, I just couldn't. I would just fall apart. But I grew up, like most of us, around grandparents and parents who would cook and bake. And I just took a liking to the baking part. And my strategy as a teenager was, okay, I really can't talk to these girls. Maybe if I give them a gift. So I would bake cookies, and I would get corny, but it worked. And from that point, after my mother passed away, my girlfriend moved in with me, and we decided to make cookies to let folks know we were together. It was the holidays. It was all lovey-dovey mushy, but everyone said the cookies are amazing. And that was the point where I said, you know what? I want to start a cookie company. And that was 30 years ago this year. And the Soul Snacks Cookie Company has grown from public housing to Walmart. So that's one of the endeavors that I took on. After that, I started a project for the music industry. I said that I actually had to stop because I had partner issues. It's called I'm Gigging, and it's for the entire entertainment industry to be able to talk on different levels. So it's the best way to describe it is like LinkedIn on steroids, but it's specifically for the entertainment industry. Whether you're a musician, a singer, a choreographer, a photographer, whatever field you're in, you could go there, and the motto is you find gigs, find you. So that's about to launch. So the new thing that I put together after my mother died, I lost something. I lost a few things, but one thing that I really missed other than her was her chili recipe. I was young. I was only 24. She was 55 when she passed. And I was just devastated that I couldn't replicate that recipe. So everybody I would tell, get the recipes. Get the recipes from your grandparents. Follow them around with a tape recorder or camera. I don't care what you do. Just get the recipes. Many times grandparents don't measure stuff. They just do it. But if you record it and you ask them, now you have it in perpetuity and you can share that with other family members. So the idea was starting as a recipe platform for getting family recipes where you could put in audio, you could put in photos, you could put in videos, you could put in recipes, measurements, you can share it with family. And then as I was almost done with that, I said, wait a minute, what about preserving family legacy? What about finding out things about your ancestry that you now want to put in one place and be able to share with everyone else in your family? And what about if you can collaborate with everyone for free in your family? And what about if, this, the idea started going. And at the end of the day, it ended up being a project that launched is starting to do very well called dearfamilystories.com.
Tell us a little more about that, please.
Okay, I will. Dear Family Stories is a way for families, entire families, to preserve their family legacy in a digital fashion and also in print. So basically, what happens when you go on the platform, if you have stories or you can sit in front of a camera, you can tape yourself and upload the story that you told. It has voice to text. You can put in photos. You can collaborate with other family members. You can add your recipes. So it's a full gamut of all of the things that has been in your family. Because what I believe is that our family legacy is generational wealth. Because in 200 years from now, when we're gone, there's some great, 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 great grandchild or niece or nephew that wants to know about what you did. And wow, I didn't know that. But now it's forever because it's digital. Or once you go through the platform and you put your whole book together, you can now save it and have it in a hard copy. So I developed this thing that no one's doing is inside of the book. You have a QR code for all of the pictures, every page that you turned on the digital. When you turn it in the book, you can scan the QR code and it can tell the story, or it can show the photo, or it can show the video from the book, the hard copy. Or you could just go to your computer and just play it from beginning to end on our app. And I did all of that and I made it super cheap because many of the platforms like that are monthly subscriptions. I didn't want to do that. This is $29.99 for life. So yeah, and you can, like I said, you can collaborate with other people. That is for free. My goal here is not to break the bank. I'm not trying to become a billionaire with this. I'm trying to get our families to preserve their family legacies of their family wealth and pass it on for many generations to have and share it. And that was the goal of Dear Family Stories. And once you finish that story, if you want to start another one, you're not paying the full price again. You're actually paying half price. So the first price is $29.99 lifetime. Most platforms are $29.99 or $19.99 a month. And sometimes people forget and it's coming out of their bank accounts. I just didn't feel comfortable with that. I know folks are tight with money, but at the same time, they might want to work on a project like this and it shouldn't have to cost them money. So if you split it between four family members, everybody's paying like $5 for the platform for a lifetime. So that's what Dear Family Stories is all about. I really want people to preserve their family stories, their legacies, and share it with generations to come.
Wow. So personal family stories as digital archives, that just sounds like a really important thing for so many people, as no one knows 200 years from now what information the future is going to have access to. It's changing every day.
And think about you're at the family reunion barbecue and somebody's got a video camera and you call them up and say, listen, send me that video. I want to put it in. Now it's in perpetuity. It's forever. Everybody can watch it. All they have to do is either share the drive that it's on or go to the platform and you can share it there. But the goal is to really make people understand that your generational wealth is in your family legacy, as well as the things that you attain materially throughout life and educationally. But this is very important that you didn't know that your uncle was a World War II veteran and you're just like, I never saw that photo. Just recently, my sister sent me a folder. She emailed me a folder of photos that I have never seen in my entire life from my cousin in Seattle, Washington. So that's my point. Putting it all in one place so everyone can have it is the goal.
I think you hit on a term that I'd love to ask you about: generational wealth. Right now, a lot of my cousins my age, we're becoming the first entrepreneurs in the family, whether that's someone rented a hall and they throw events and baby showers. I have a cousin who is renting out cars for people when they come in and out of town. I'm doing creative entrepreneurship. And so we're really all just kind of figuring out what is going on? How do you do this? And so with you being a serial entrepreneur in different areas, whether that's food and beverage, as a musician, that is a form of entrepreneurship, your digital platform, where did that come from for you? Like, how did that sort of entrepreneurial mindset develop? Was that something that came from your family? Is that something that just came from your lived experience? Talk to us more about that.
In my family, there's my mom raised us. She raised four kids by herself. I'm the youngest of four. But I watched my mother run in Bronx River Houses, one of the birthplaces of hip hop. I watched her run the Tenant Patrol, the Tenants Association, the Garden Program, the Summer Youth Program, and she was the crossing guard on the corner. So her having people come to the house to help them as opposed to going to management or whatever was going on. My mother was always the champion in the community for that. And that kind of sparked the help in me. That kind of sparked the part where you can write a proposal and get things done. And that honestly was the beginning of sparking my entrepreneurial spirit. It wasn't anyone, everybody in my family had jobs. My sister's a retired principal. My other sister worked for a big hospital union. My brother's, as I mentioned, he's retired as well, mechanical engineer. So they had jobs, but that spark of watching my mother just organize and move and do things just made me feel that I can organize, move, and do things too. And that was the beginning.
And I think that just shows the power of what it is that you're trying to do. Something that may not initially build a connection in your mind. Oh, someone running a bunch of programs could actually transfer to me running a bunch of businesses. I think that's why it's so important for us to have this information. It's the building blocks of potential for ourselves and our own families, for other people and other communities to see. And yeah, it's such a really great endeavor. So my final question for you, and you sort of mentioned you're not necessarily trying to make $1 billion with Dear Family Stories, but as a serial entrepreneur, as a creative, as someone who is still building things and figuring out what you want to do next, I guess that's the question. What's next for you? What is potentially something else that you want to explore, something that you want to continue to cultivate?
I've gotten really involved in developing platforms for different markets. Like dearfamilystories.com is one, imgigging.com is another one. There's another platform that I'm partners with that I came up with this idea. I'm not a big fan of streaming networks. I have record company experience. I was A&R manager over at Jive Records. And I got a chance to see on both sides what happens to people in the entertainment industry. And in some situations, it could be very lucrative, but it's like playing the lottery. And in some situations, it could break you. So what I saw with streaming is that the payout for a person's stream was near nothing. It was less than a penny that a person got from a stream of their song. And I do charity work as well. I'm the global ambassador for a charity that's building a pediatric cancer hospital in Ghana called Wish for Life, wish number 4life.org. If you guys want to check it out, please do. But from that experience, something just clicked in me and I said, you know what? There's a way for songwriters and poets to make an impact, not only for their bottom line, but also for charitable organizations. And the idea is to take their song, put it on the platform, and then pick one of the charities that are there on the platform, and then share your earnings with that charity. Now, the good part about it is that the lowest price you can purchase a song for from an artist is $2.99, and most people are buying songs for the price of $4.99 because it's a caring, benevolent, kind thing to take your creation and now give it away. It's almost as if someone is at an auction and someone gives away like a painting or whatever. It's the same thing. And then the auction house takes a small percentage. We've decided to take 3%. So say, for example, a person posts a song and someone downloads it for $2.99. every quarter, depending on how much that song sells, the charity gets a portion and the artist gets a portion. Both are gaining. There's no losers here. And it's called Fund with Music. So if you want to go to it, it's the first two letters of the three words, fundwithmusic.com. So it's FUWIMU.com. It's pronounced Fuwimu, Fuwimu.com. And it's up and running. We have a bunch of charities, vetted charities that we picked on the platform. I just had a meeting with a gentleman who runs a charity in the UK that every year he has a concert to raise money. All the bands, 160 bands. He gets over 500 submissions and 160 bands perform for free to help kids just to put stuff in their backpacks because it's a problem around the world that people just don't have certain pens, pencils, toothbrush, toothpaste, essentials. And it's a great organization. So they're getting involved with us. And like I said, I don't sleep. I just like creating. I don't know how much time we have in this world, but while I'm here, I just want to try to do the right thing as many places as I can. So I'm excited about this new venture. Check it out when you get a chance. You'll see it's pretty cool. There's some great music on there too, and poetry.
No, that's such an innovative use case for using creativity to directly help other people who need it. So yeah, that's really interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, one thing that you wanted to know is how was it done? 20, 30 years ago, when I started my cookie company, is when websites started to become popular. 30 years ago, I don't even know if you were born yet. I had a friend of mine, a guy that I actually met doing a concert for this guy named David Nickturn. David Nickturn wrote a very famous song called Midnight at the Oasis. If you want to hear, it's been copied many times. And I was playing with him. And the guy that was doing his basically PR social media work when social media was just getting started was this longtime friend of mine named Josh Axelrod. So I said, Josh, would you build my cookie company website? And he said yes, and he did. So we've been friends for so many years. That is not something that you have to go to someone to do anymore. You have AI platforms that can build a website for you from you asking a question and knowing what to ask, that you can build it out, test it, and just keep going back and forth, just like a developer would do. But the tools are now available to everyone to be able to build your own idea. You can come up with an idea today. I want to start a janitorial company, and I want to be able to work with big corporations, and I want to get certified as a not-for-profit so I can hire people coming out of the prison system. Type it in, watch what happens. It will blow you. The first time I used AI, all I could do was sit there and laugh. I'm not kidding. I just laughed and laughed because I'm like, this is ridiculous. But there are some people who are just so afraid of AI. It's going to get you. AI going to get you. But if that's the case, just don't come out the house because everything could get you. You have to use the tools of the trade, learn about them, learn what's good about them, learn what's bad about them, and apply it to your forward motion. My biggest problem with anyone is that they procrastinate. Time is just standing still, holding on. They put a pause on, they're getting older. That drives me up a wall. I set deadlines for everything that I want to do. By this day at this time, I want to have this done, which makes me work even harder. It makes me excited because I got to prove to me that I can do this. And if I'm selling myself short, that means I could sell anybody short.
Wow. That is all amazing information. And yes, we are a very please at least research how AI could potentially help you organization here because it's here. Like you said, it's here and can be useful. So you have shared different ways that people can find out about the organizations and the platforms that you're working on. If folks wanted to just find out more about you and follow what you're doing, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can go to my website, which is ralphrolle.com, RALPHROLLE.com. They can follow me on social media on at the drumroll. If you just Google my name, Ralph Rolle, all of it will pop up. Everything will pop up. And I make sure to connect different platforms so people can see what I'm doing. I'm currently on tour right now, not right at this moment, but I'm on tour with Nile Rodgers, the Grammy Award winning writer, producer. I've been with him for a very long time. And if anybody wants to see my tour schedule, just go to ralphrolle.com and it's on the first page. Just click on it. It shows all the places in the world that we're going to be. And you can also send me an email if you want.
Ralph, even with now having that information, I cannot appreciate your time enough for coming to chat with us here and hopefully inspiring someone who's listening to, well, you said that forward motion. That's what you keep saying, forward motion, to figure out whatever their pathway is moving forward starting today. Because, yeah, there are so many possibilities.
Yes, there are. There are tons and nothing. Information that when our parents, our great grandparents weren't allowed to touch a book wasn't that long ago. We have to remember that we have the keys to the castle now. We can get any information on anything at any time in the palm of your hand. That's having keys to the castle. We have to utilize that, not just for texting and social media, but information and forward motion is very important. That we have to realize that time does have an expiration date.
Ralph Rolle, thank you so much for being a guest today.
Casey, thank you very much.
A few things stuck with me from that conversation. First, forward motion over perfection. Ralph keeps coming back to that phrase. And what he means is you take the lesson from whatever just happened, good or bad, and you apply it to the next thing. The whole point is keep moving. Second, confidence. He talks about the difference between nerves and a lack of confidence, and how people sense the second one instantly. Showing up prepared is how you earn the confidence, not the other way around. Third, your family legacy is generational wealth. The recipe you didn't write down, the photo nobody's seen, the story only one person remembers, Ralph makes the case that preserving all of it is worth as much as anything material you pass on. And finally, the tools are already in your hands. Whether it's AI or anything else, Ralph's take is simple. Learn what the tool is good for, both good and bad, and try it. Fear and procrastination are the only things really standing in your way. For a deeper analysis and tips, head to our Substack. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Farewell, and may all of your creative endeavors flourish. Could Be Pretty Cool News is a Could Be Pretty Cool original production. Created, hosted, and executive produced by Casey Lueders. Senior producer is Liz Moore, and supervising sound editor is Trinity Jackson. Our original theme music was composed by Camille Stennis and cover art designed by AJ Johnson. To learn more about Could Be Pretty Cool and discover whatever else we're up to, visit us at couldbeprettycool.substack.com. Thank you for listening.